Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Better Than Okay. This is a channel where I learn things and share my experiences. Today, we are going through the first time I went and changed out my dropper post. Overall, it's a pretty easy job, but it was my first time doing it. I actually found some really interesting issues that I ran into. There's a ton of stuff online about different installation of dropper posts, and I just want to give a few general things that I found that hopefully is applicable to everyone and that might make your job a little bit easier. The first thing that I found was super helpful was to go read the actual instructions. I know, and I've done this in the past where I don't read the instructions, just kind of go right into it. And there's always a couple of things that I forget that I have to go back and look at the instruction anyways. So save yourself some headache and actually just spend 5 minutes to read the instructions. Wearing gloves is, at least for this job, based on the instruction that I saw in the dropper post that I have here, you are actually applying grease to the inside of the barrel here. So it made a lot of sense to wear gloves. I actually started without wearing gloves, and let me tell you, the grease is extremely difficult to clean off your hands. And number three, this one I actually got really lucky on, but I would highly recommend if you're starting for the first time is before you even buy the dropper, actually measure in advance. Not all down tubes fit the length of the dropper inserts, as I've realized, because when I was putting this in, there was a couple scares where I thought I hit the bottom and I'm pretty sure it wasn't going to go any further, but it was just stuck somewhere. And once I actually measured it, I realized everything was fine. And, this is not really a problem. The fourth thing I wanted to talk about was fix the cable length so that there's no give and then the tension is correct before you mount everything. I left too much slack in the line and I didn't pull the housing directly right up to the dropper. I would really loosen up the end where the remote is and push the housing right up to the dropper where it should be sitting. And then once you get that connection locked in, then pull through the cable and get everything tight there. You don't have to mount it to the bike itself. You just have to tighten the screw on the remote so that the cable length and the housing length are all fixed. At that point, you can move the remote wherever you need to go. You need to push the dropper in, push the housing through. Everything is going to be totally fine. Now, my problem here is for this specific enduro bike, there is a shim that they put inside. So the diameter of the down tube is, I think, 34.9 millimeters, and the dropper post that it came with was 30.9. So there's a bit of a gap, and in between that, there's this shiv. And for the life of me, I could not pull it out with pliers. And I actually figured out there was a much better way to go about it. What I had to do was to use a blind barrel or bearing puller. This is something that is actually very useful to keep around for other bike projects like replacing your pivots. How this puller work is pretty straightforward. There's three sections to this tool. The first is the puller at the very end. There's a middle section where the end and the hammer section connects, and then the third is the hammer section. The first bit is the part that you're actually putting into whatever you're trying to pull. In this case, is the shim. How it works is it start off really small so that you can feed it through whatever you're trying to pull, and once you get it to a position where you want it to, you can then tighten it through the middle section. And in this case, it was kind of difficult to do because it was kind of deep inside the shim there. And you would just tighten it or twist it in a direction where it would actually open up the slots there, as you can see. And that would expand till the point that it'll basically be too big that it can't feed through anymore. So once you have a good catch on the end, you can then use the hammer section to really just pull this thing out, as you see in the video here. It's pretty cool because it pulls on all directions equally, so that
you won't damage the thing that you're trying to pull from. I tried using pliers at first, but it was extremely difficult to do. And if I had kept going, I definitely would have, in some way, maybe not broken, but damaged the C post, which was something I really wanted to avoid. So, long story short, highly recommend using the right tool for the job there. That's the end of the video here. I didn't think a specific how-to video was very valuable, just given everyone's setup will be very different, and thought I would just share some of my experiences and things I wish I knew when I got started with this job. And ultimately, not super hard to do, but yeah, hope you find it useful. Let me know your thoughts.